Hey everybody, it's Aaron. Today we're going to build a interactive prototype. What you are looking at is a prototype that I've hosted on Vercel. You could click, you could interact with different parts, you can go into this cool little time ladder, and this is using real data from pro cycling stats to feed it. Now, this prototype happens to be Tour de France classifications, just because it's something I'm watching. But you know, the skills you're going to learn today, build any type of prototype. The tools we're going to use today are going to be Claude Design. That's where we're going to actually do the design and make some different design decisions about the thing we're going to want to build. We're going to hand things off to Claude Code for building, and we're then going to, you're going to see me use Warp. That happens to be the place I like building stuff. This is Warp right here. We are going to then push that repository from our machine into GitHub, and then we're going to use Vercel at the very end to deploy and get to that cool link. Hope you enjoyed the ride today. I think this is a fun one, and this is just a good skill to know how to do, to build interactive prototypes using all sorts of different types of data as kind of a source. Have fun. All right, so we're looking at Claude Design, and in Claude Design here, what I've done is this is my starting prompt, right? And so I'll actually have this prompt in the repo after, but what we're building here is a prototype using real data, so it's not just lorem ipsum. But before we build anything, I wanted to use Claude Design first, so we can mock a few different variations and pick what we're actually going to build. Now, some of the cool stuff with Claude Design is you can hover, you can see how things are going to render. But if I start with this prompt, right? And again, I'll put this in the repo after, but it's got the context. Like what I want to do is I want to test the 3 different ways of visualizing the same data. I provided basically exact data from pro cycling stats for just people's placing in the Tour de France yesterday or whenever this was. And then, I gave a couple different, like what I wanted for the views. I gave a couple different constraints. Again, I'll give you this entire prompt in the piece. And then the thing I think is interesting with Claude Design is you don't just hand it something and then, you get back this one-shot perfect thing. You do kind of need to go back and forth, right? Like, and I like to do some of the prototyping here versus the building side. So what I wanted to call out is basically this below here, this right here, this was the first pass, the Tour de France GC at a glance. And I didn't love any of these ones. Like, they were okay. But in the first pass, it included another data point, like essentially this team concept. So, I gave it that feedback. I don't love it. I don't have enough writers. This is just a mock prototype. Like, so, hey, can you make these changes? Let's remove this field. And then I didn't like these first 3 colors, so I wanted additional variation. And so, that going from this turn 1, these first 3 examples that I was able to see the designs and interact with those designs, we got to this turn 2, right? And so turn 2 is kind of what I had when I was first sharing my screen. And I like out of these turn 2, I think this violet one is the one I liked most. It's interesting. Whatever. It's a prototype. So knowing that this is what I want, and now this is the thing I actually want to build. Because again, the point is we're going to go from Claude Design, we're going to go to Claude Code, we're going to go deploy this thing on Vercel so other people could interact with it. And again, have hard-coded data, not just lorem ipsum copy in here. We picked our violet, our 2D, the one we like. And so what I told Claude Design is, this is my winner. Give me this. So basically what it's going to give me now is I want a package for Claude Code to take this over. So let me scroll down here a bit. Essentially, it's given me this package, and then I asked it for a prompt, right? So like, what's the prompt to give to Claude Code to take this over? And so this right here is our prompt. Sorry, let me just grab this. If I can click it right, oh my God. I swear I know how to click. Here we go. But yeah, we've got our little prompt. We're going to Command-C, grab this, and we're going to move over to Warp. So if this was Claude Design, now I want to move over to Warp. And in Warp, the one thing I did in advance is I created a folder for this, and I actually dropped a script we're going to use for pulling data, for more live snapshot data, hopefully, into this prototype. And so, again, I'm assuming you know how to get into Claude, hopefully, but I'm already in this folder. We're going to open Claude, and we're going to get out of this folder structure, And what we're going to do, let's move this over here for now. We are going to paste this prompt. So one thing before I enter and start this off is on a different screen, let me just kind of go through things here, is I had downloaded the handoff package. It says to download this handoff package. So I had grabbed this and I had put it in this folder that we're going to use for this repo, right? So TDF, GC, tracker, prototype. The things that I got from the handoff is this design handoff TDF GC. Basically give me your README, screenshots as a reference, and I think essentially the HTML versions of what we just saw in Claude Design. So that's what we got. Knowing that, let's go back to work. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take that handoff prompt, and we've already added our assets into this folder, and we are going to start the party. Now, I'm going to actually hit Shift-Tab and Shift-Tab and Shift-Tab because I like to use auto mode primarily. Like, this is a prototype. We don't, like, the stress on this thing isn't particularly high, and so I think the level of like discretion and worry that it's not there. We're building something that's a mock. We're going to be putting this in front of users. Auto mode is way better. So what's happening here is it's reading the files. It's going to look at the different folders, and we're going to get a chance. I mean, essentially, I have a feeling it'll ask us if it has any questions or to make this prototype real. One thing to call out in this handoff prompt, while we let this thing cook a little bit, is the prompt itself is kind of repeating what I originally put into Claude Design. Is, hey, we're building a one-screen prototype. It's going to show this tour de France classification in a few different ways, and it's got the requirements that it's instructing Claude Code to kind of handle, right? So it's saying it wants to be a React app. We're going to deploy this thing in Vercel. It's only going to use this one theme. This is kind of the basics of the product. Phone with first, and then I like seeing this piece here, match the screenshots closely. This is a high fidelity spec. And then it's telling it to read the README first, right? So again, I think it's important to understand, like, what did we just do? We took something from Claude Design. We made a tidy little package we put into a folder with really clear instructions and theory, gave it to Claude Code and said, get cooking. Okay, we are now at a point where, in theory, I expect something to pop up. Let me bring it over. What's happened is Claude Code has launched Playwright to make sure what it built matches what I intended it to do. So you can see here it's localhost. This is a Playwright browser that Claude Code's actually driving, and Claude Code is validating, did what we set out to do actually get built, and does it match to that spec? So, that's one of the great things about auto mode is instead of asking me for approvals for a bunch of this stuff, it went and launched this on its own. It's checking on its own, and it's kind of progressing through its different piece. So you can see here, let's move this over a touch. Let's move further. Right. Let's get off screen. Sure. But it's, from the build passing, it's verifying visually against the screenshots, and now it's doing essentially those verification checks. Now, again, this is a prototype. If we were building a different type of project, is auto mode appropriate? I don't know. It's kind of project by project. But essentially, that making sure it visually goes against what you wanted it to do in that design, that's an important step. And I think that's a great feature set that's available to you here in building this prototype. This error that just popped up on the screen, this is from me interacting with the Playwright. So it just confirmed that everything is fine, but I'm quite sure that this firing about the pointer leave is because I was doing the clicking and interacting with the Playwright. So yeah, always interesting to watch what happens when you start to interact with the thing that you're not supposed to touch in that given moment in time. Okay, so our Claude Code session is finished, right? Or at least this one. We've got something to interact with and test. So you can see the app is built, it's ready to deploy. Production builds, was successful. We had seen the Playwright along the way. Basically, we have the app, we have the scripts. It verified the Playwright, verified the few different views, and it's giving me some notes. I mean, so normally, if this a project I'm not demonstrating, I'm typically going to probably do all of these next commands via right here in Warp. So I would do the initiation of the Git repo. I would deploy it to Vercel via the Vercel MCP. But for today's purposes, I think we'll do it kind of the by hand way. We'll do the different parts. So we are now ready. We have a folder with a prototype, and we are ready to put this on Vercel and deploy it. First thing we need to do, though, is we need to actually push this up to GitHub. So we already have our folder. So what we're going to do is we're going to add an existing repository. We got our TDF GC tracker prototype. We're going to hit open. This is Does not appear to be a Git repository. Do I want to create? All right. So what we're doing, we're initializing Git inside of this repo overall. This is the local path overall. We're going to create a repo. Cool. So what I'm seeing here, inside of that folder, I do see Git ignore, Git attributes, and Git has been added here, and we can publish this repository. So this one doesn't need to be private, especially because I'm going to share it with y'all. This is demo Tour de France prototype. And so we're going to now publish this repository. If I did it correctly, which I hope I did, what should be there now is basically all the things we just pushed up, because I don't think we get ignored anything. If I look at the history, looks good to me. Looks like all the files made it up there. And if we move over to GitHub, I refresh, I go to repositories, boom. The TDF GC tracker prototype is there. And it's got our little README file. Now, what do we have? We started in Claude Design. We pushed it to Claude Code to build a actual interactive prototype. And now we've pushed the interactive prototype from my local machine to GitHub. Now to time to host and deploy. So for this one, we're going to use Vercel. So I already have an account in Vercel. And let me just refresh here. What I'm going to do here is let me just show you where I am. I'm in a new project. So if you're in your Vercel dashboard, you can go to add new. Again, I'm going to click add new project, and it's detected because my GitHub is connected. I have a new project, this TDFGC tracker prototype, which we're going to import. And so basically new project, I want it to pull from the main branch. This is my Vercel team. It's a Vite project. This is the project name. This all looks correct. We're going to hit deploy. So it's happening. Basically, this is going to deploy. We should get back a Vercel link, and then we should actually see our interactive prototype using hard-coded or with data for the Tour de France as of stage 15 available. So let's see here. Cool. So if I click this link, we should be live. So here we go. This is the little interactive prototype we just built. So it's got our little hover effects. It's got our time ladder. It's got all the different pieces. And this is all a snapshot of how everything was at the end of yesterday after stage 15. And again, we pulled this just from Pro Cycling Stats. So now this is an interactive prototype I could send to somebody else. So I'll put this link in the repo too. I'll put the original prompt we started with in the repo as well. And really everything needed hopefully for you to build this yourself. But yeah, instead of hopefully what you've learned here is you can go from basically a static prototype using Lorem Ipsum to something that's interactive, something that people can engage with, something that you could, put some form of data or seeded data in there. So it's a much more interactive and engaging experience. If you have any questions, you have any comments, feel free to email me, comment on this video, whatever. However you can get help, we'll help you out.